And this person,
Ashwin knows.
Dr.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Rahul.
Yeah. So,
We communicated.
so please start.
All right, all right.
Here. Okay.
Okay. So, so are we about to start to share the first presentation is you, Ma'am Catherine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Go ahead. I
Good morning.
So, good morning, all of you. Good morning in the online mode also. We will be starting the session. This is SS11, titled Philippines Waste Management and Circular Economy. And the session is to be chaired by Dr. Lynlei Pintor. Please, I will ask my co-hall manager to introduce Dr. Pintor.
So, good morning, one hour present here. Today we have with us Dr. Lynlei Pintor from DENR Ecosystems Research Development Bureau, Philippines.
Okay. So we have a presentation. Each of the presentation is going to be of 10 minutes, and all the presentations will be done online. So now I will request the chair to take over the session.
can we start now the session?
Yeah.
Okay. So that we can finish on time and it will not affect your schedule in the venue. All
Yeah.
right. So Miss Catherine will present now. And then after Miss Catherine, my staff will share the video presentation of Dr. Figueroa. And then afterwards, I will be the one to present. And then and then the rest are also video presentation because the presenters have ongoing classes in the university. Is it what be okay?
Okay.
All right. So the floor is now yours, Miss Catherine.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. I will be presenting one of my research output, which is entitled The Performance of a Continuous Flow Rice Husk Gasifier for Rock Oven. So I am Catherine Pueyo from Tarlac Agricultural University, Philippines. So, as we all know, we are all questing or looking for a sustainable solution to address our fuel needs, some of which we are engaged into renewable energies and the use of biomass, biochars for and other applications. In my research, I use rice husk as fuel. This is one of the emerging revolutionary technology to provide a reliable and cost-effective solution to small business owners. So I chose small business owners because they have the access. They are the one who is heavily affected when the prices of LPG and other gases increases. So this study was centered on the evaluation of this developed technology, which is a continuous flow rice husk gasifier for rack oven. I personally developed it together with my staff last year or 2 years ago. And then we tested the economic viability using this gasifier for rack oven. To determine the effectiveness or the change in the quality, sensory evaluation was conducted if this is accepted. So the bake produced using this technology is accepted by the consumers. So that is the highlight of my research. So why rice husk? Because this is the one available in our place here in Tarlac. And why small retail bakery owners? Because most of the bakeries here are categorized as the medium and small bakery owners. So the objective of this is to evaluate its performance, to compare the performance of this oven with an LPG-fired oven, and to determine the acceptability of the product. So just to give you a brief or short methodology, the input is we interviewed bakery owners as to how the business is going on, especially during the needs or during the time when fuel prices are increasing. And they said that the fuel cost greatly affected their income. So that is one of their input. We also interviewed the farmers as to how they are transposing or disposing the rice hull produced. And most of them are not equipped and are not yet enlightened or oriented as to the potential of using rice husk as an energy. So That is why, with the combination of the input, the decreasing income or the fluctuating income of bakery owners, as well as the insufficient or not knowledgeable farmers using those rice husk fed, we developed this continuous flow rice husk gasifier for rack oven. The gasifying technology or the gasifier technology is not new in the Philippines. There are a lot of adapters here. We are just looking at the different applications as to how and where it is fitted. So this is the developed prototype. This is the left one is the gasifier, and then the second figure is the rack oven. So for the output, we have the different tests conducted and performed to evaluate its performance. So what happened or what commenced during this study? We found out that the most commonly used oven by the small retail bakery owners are the 2 layers, 6 trays per layer capacity. So this oven has a specific energy requirement of 0.04167 kilogram per hour tray with energy demand, and most importantly is its rice husk consumption rate, which is 7.5 kilograms per hour. This size, 1000 millimeter by 300 millimeter reactor diameter, consumes 7.5 kilogram of rice hull per hour. So after the fabrication and after testing the technology we developed, by the way, this technology is also protected with a utility model and has an ongoing patent application, so for further use. So for the performance of the gasifier, it is very clear. The problem, or this is just what we are encountered during the testing, it takes quite a lot of time. 7 minutes to start up. This heating time is the full operation, 67.6 minutes, more than an hour. And then we were able to consume 10 kilograms of fuel with a consumption rate of 8.92 kilogram per hour. So that is the highlight. But as you can see, the fuel cost is very low, 13.38 per hour. If the rice husk is available nearby, they can free it. So the farmers will be freed with technically how much, maybe 100 or 200 pesos, and it's quite amount of money here. Then for the oven performance, we need to start it up at around 9 to 10 minutes and then preheat it at 16 minutes, then bake the products for 34 minutes onwards, and it can operate up to 72.67 minutes maximum and only use 9.7 kilograms of fuel. So we compare it to the performance of the LPG fired, so the commonly used oven in the country, which is the LPG fired oven. So as you can see, results showed that there is a high significant difference when it comes to the fuel consumption rate and then the weight of fuel used. But basically, this is incomparable as compared with the cost of using these two fuels. Then for the overall adaptability of the product, the aftertaste, the aroma, the color, the mouthfeel, the overall flavor, and then the overall opinion of the one who received the product were also tested. So results revealed that there is no significant difference between the aftertaste, the aroma, the color, the mouthfeel, and the overall flavor. Only the overall opinion and the purchasing intention shows a significant difference. Then, I cannot move my slides. Okay, for the operating cost, it will take an estimated cost of 73,000 pesos operation cost per year. But as you can see, as compared, we will not determine the cost for the LPG fired oven only for the rice husk fed oven. So based from the result of the study, we have 22%, 24% for the initial cost, and then the payback period is, I think we need to consume this. Where is that? Looking at this, the highly cost mostly came from the production or fabrication of the continuous flow gasifier and the oven. But for the other cost, this is very minimal as compared to the LPG fired oven. So Some of the recommendations incurred is the inclusion of the temperature sensor to monitor the inside temperature of the oven. So we have limited instrumentation during that time. The sides of the burner compartment should have an adjustable opening for the necessary secondary data or secondary air needed for oxidation, and then the shed of the gasifier reactor must be provided to protect it from the heat of the sun and other adverse weather conditions. So it is also recommended that a support to hold the door during opening of the open cavity must be installed. Also, we have not yet tested it in a continuous operation, but we are proposing it right now. So we need to test and evaluate its effectivity in a continuous operation. So right now, this is evaluated or tested per batch, so per load. Then in conclusion, based on the results of the study, this continuous flow rice husk gasifier for rack oven was successfully designed and fabricated following the design calculations and design requirements. The gasifier performed satisfactorily based on the operating needs and heat energy requirements of the bakery oven, and results of the evaluation performance of the gasifier revealed that it sustained the energy needed by the oven for its operation. So the oven worked properly by producing a good quality baked product using this rice husk fed, and it revealed or showed during the sensory evaluation. So the performance of the LPG fired oven is more superior to the rice husk fired oven in terms of the startup time, operating time. So generally, it is much easier to operate an LPG fired oven, but it is competitor or competitive. The use of this rice husk fed oven is competitive to the LPG fired oven. And in terms of the baked product, the quality of the salt bread baked in the rice husk fired oven is the same as those baked in an LPG fired oven in terms of the aftertaste, aroma, color, mouthfeel, and the overall flavor. But however, for some reason, the salt bread baked in the oven is more likable and has a better purchasing intention than those baked in an LPG fired oven. So they surprised us. Thank you.
The topic for this afternoon is e-waste and circular economy, present and future prospects, Philippines. I am Arturo Mariano May Figueroa. I'm a guest lecturer at the Graduate School of Engineering, Holy Angel University. For my outline, I have four topics to discuss. One is the Philippine e-waste generation, to be followed by Philippine material recovery processes. Then third, Philippine recycling centers, and then Philippine e-waste studies. To begin with, we discuss Philippine e-waste generation. In my country, there are two sources of e-waste generation, namely corporate and household sources, and the second one is e-waste generated from international trading. For the corporate and household sources, the nature of this waste generated is household appliances, ICT equipment, and consumer electronics. For the second one, the e-waste generated from international trading, the nature is used and scrap electrical and electronic part assemblies, photocopying equipment, scrap printed wiring board, and printed circuit board. In numerical figures, for the corporate and household e-waste generated, we have this listing of numbers. We had 39 million units e-waste, consisting of televisions, generators, aircon, washing machines, and radios, from a period of 1996 up to 2010 data. This cited from Peralta and Pantanos 6. There is also a 69.86 metric tons of e-waste cited by the Environmental Management Bureau in 2014. And a research from Universidad 2016 spell out that in the Philippines, there is 2.49 kilogram per capita of e-waste. And in addition, there are 22 million of e-waste mobile phones in a research conducted by Ballesteros and Galang, as cited by Mateo 2019. That was in 2016. In the case of the international e-waste trade, in my country, there is this exportation of 80,070 metric tons from 2012 to 2014, cited by the Environmental Management Bureau. And there is importation of 117,000 metric tons from 2001 to 2005, from this cited by SAGIP, an NGO. Now, let us go to the Philippine material recovery processes. So, e-waste. You see it in the tabular representation cited from Ballesteros 2016. We have 5 processes for the e-waste: sorting, disassembly, crushing, separation, thermal treatment, hydrometallurgical extraction. And of these processes, there are 2 groups. The formal group, the formal recyclers, and the informal recyclers. In the Philippines, we can say that although under the formal recyclers, actually there is only 80% recycling. No? I think, and then the rest of this is done overseas. So in the Philippines, this recycling in nature is only manual dismantling, mechanical crushing, and separation and thermal treatment. But the extraction actually of the valuable materials is done abroad. In the case of the informal recycler, there is actually only 40% recycling. Sorting and crushing are done by the informal recyclers, and the rest, they do not do any separation, they do not do any thermal treatment, and there is no hydrometallurgical extraction. Okay. In the Philippines, we have these e-waste recycling centers. The government encourages the establishment of what you call transport, storage, and disposal facilities. We have 16 regions in the country, and you can see in this table that among the 16 regions across the country, there are only 3 major regions where these ESDs are mushrooming. One is, of course, this is headed by Southern Luzon. We have 42 TSD centers. Then in Region 3, for Central Luzon, we have 36 TSD centers. And even in Metro Manila, we have 23. You can see in other geographical regions, there are very little of these facilities. So in other words, in the Philippines, we can say that 70% of the total 140 TSDs are in Luzon Island. No, the Philippines is composed of 3 islands: Luzon, the Visayas, and Mindanao. And come to think of it, 70% of these transport, storage, and disposal centers are merely in Luzon. What is there are significant reasons to explain that. One is in terms of economic activity, something like that. And among these 140 ESDs in the Philippines, we have 43 e-waste recyclers, 43 facilities that specifically devotedly recycles e-waste. Again, in terms of numerical number, we have in Southern Luzon, we have 22 companies, private companies that process e-waste. Then there are 10 companies in Central Luzon and 3 e-waste recyclers situated in Manila. Okay. The next topic that I want to share in this ISC 22 is that in the Philippines, we had, for the last 5 years, we had Filipino researchers focused their attention in studying this e-waste. Beginning, for example, in 2019, a study entitled Common Types and Characteristics of Electronic Waste, quantify recoverable electronic components and from electronic waste. Then another study is on a researcher studied the e-waste management and impact to human health and the environment. Then another study again focused on electronic waste management practices in the education sector. Another one, another researchers studied the perception practices of undergraduate students on electronic waste and identified the management practices. And then we have on the bottom of my table an estimation of waste of mobile phone using neural networks. To continue, there Alam Ziba in 2016 also studied the management of waste generated by the disposal of personal computers, laptops, and mobile phones. Yoshida and his group, they studied the recycling processes of CRT TVs, monitors, process flows, and informal recycling sites. In 2016, Bawas and Christine et al. Evaluated the policies and practices on electronic waste management in selected universities. And lastly, Moralio Narcisa evaluated the e-waste. Okay. We can also the 5-year e-waste project, the implementation of PCB management and safe e-waste management. The project objective is to eliminate 600 metric tons of PCB contaminated oil and equipment and 1,150 tons of PVDEs for the benefit of the global community. In conclusion of this very short message,
Good afternoon from the Philippines and good morning in India. So I am Lynlei Pintor. I will present to you my current study on the complementarities of green productivity and circular economy, which will be shown on the next slide. So moving on, in the next slide, immense focus on circular economies initiatives, policies, and identification of policies to support the Philippine Action Plan for Sustainable Consumption and Production, the country's main roadmap in addressing SDG 12. It is sad to note that up to now, we have no integrated circular economy strategy or policy framework that exists in the Philippines, but there are a number of national policies and strategies linked directly and indirectly to circular economy approaches. You can see from this slide the sustainable. In the next slide, you can see the sustainable consumption and production plan developed by the National Economic and Development Authority last 2020. Here in the Philippines, it's an agency, a government agency as well. The same with the research institution that I'm working with, although NEDA is not a research institution. So from this slide, you can see what are the assumptions, the activities, the output of the sustainable consumption and production plan, focusing on regulation, promotion, infrastructure, and technology, also as well as the outcome, referring to green in terms of behavior, consumer, producer, and green good, as well as the impact, focusing on sustainable consumption and production in order to achieve SDG number 12. So moving on in the next slide. So who are the key actors in driving circular economy and green productivity? Primarily, it's the Philippine government, the business sector, the civil society, and also the academia plays a vital role. So for my study, this is actually funded by the Asian Productivity Organization in Japan, wherein we were in 13 countries all at the same time implemented the research project utilizing the same methodology and the same research questionnaire. We are required to conduct survey among 100 ISO organizations in our respective countries. In my case, 61.25% comes from the private or public corporates for profits, 11.25% for nonprofit or NGOs, while others is 27.5%. The ISO organizations, you can see the number of years in terms of establishment, wherein majority are more than 30 years, 61 representing 61.25%. And in terms of geographic area of business, 55% is domestic, regional is 32.50, while a small percentage is global, which is 12.50%. From this slide, you can see the number of total employees of the ISO organization, wherein 100 to 1,000 employees comprises 40%, and more than 1,000 comprises 28.75%. In terms of the sector of the organization, there is the same percentage for industry and services, 40%, while the average annual budget for green, environmental, sustainable activities for the 5 years, you can see that only very minimal, less than 1%, comprising 36.25%. In the next slide, you can see the survey result in terms of the green goals in the ISO organization, wherein majority is into sustainable development goals, 56.25%. And then it was followed by green productivity, 46.25%. And also 32.50% in terms of green greenhouse gas mitigation, and a small percentage on circular economy, 28.75%. So from this slide, this is the result of the preferred topics or approaches on green productivity of the 100 ISO organization respondents, such as reforestation, reduce, recycle, agricultural productivity, energy and water conservation, green supply chain, and management. While the topics on circular economy include reuse, reduce, recycling, the same agricultural productivity, energy saving, pollution prevention, reforestation, and environmental regulations. While the topics or approaches preferred on SED focus on clean water, clean energy, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, sustainable cities and communities, and responsible consumption and production. Moving on. So for the topics on environment, this is about the environment, focusing on waste management and 3Rs, reforestation, energy efficiency, and climate change. While the topics or approaches for GHG mitigation are reforestation, energy conservation, biogas project, carbon sequestration. While the topics for social component focus on social development and management and community relation. The social development and management program issues is usually being conducted by mining companies. Moving on. So from this slide, you can see what the result on the current and future green productivities. In terms of percentage, the highest is the usage of secondary materials, recycled water, and renewable energy, 46.25%, followed by take back and recycling, 43.75%. And there is a slight difference in terms of the result, 41.25% on life cycle assessment or environmental design, and 40% for selecting suitable materials and or equipment for better recyclability. And there is also a high percentage in terms of energy saving, GHG reduction, and carbon footprint comprising 53.75%. So what are the requirements or regulations from government or any green protocols to follow? Based on the result of my survey, 90% focus on environmental management and 43.75% on material or water recycling. Moving on, in the next slide, is the incentives that we wanted from the government. Majority answered training and consultation opportunities, 68.75%. And then in the next slide, so in terms of management framework, 50 answered ISO 14,000. And in terms of the general impact to the organization, it is significant to note that it's highly positive where it comes to general impact to the organization. And in terms of the aspects of the impact, we can see that majority answered sustainability contribution. In the next slide, the future assistance that needed from the government pertains to training of workforce. So moving on. So this is my recommended circular economy strategies, showing to you the roles of the key actors. The first one is enhancing data and digitalization, wherein the academe plays a vital role. Introducing new consumption patterns. It would be better if we offer in curriculum matching
the needs of the target group, including within the transition to circular economy. And then in the next slide, so promoting circular product design, wherein we can create research programs on circular economy which will provide technical and financial assistance to SMEs on how to develop, implement, and upscale circular business, and strengthening business enterprises to create research programs on circular economy which provide technical and financial assistance to SMEs as well. And then establishing a good market for waste and recycled raw materials and maximizing value from building and biomass to conduct research as well. So that's all for my presentation, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Pintor, for the presentation. Now we can go for the next presentation. Before that, I request all the presenters to send the PPTs in the mail ID during the chat box. So, next presenter.
Good day, everyone. My name is Josel B. Godizano, and thank you for welcoming me in the 13th International Conference on Sustainable Waste Management and Circular Economy and IPLA Global Forum of 2023. Let me share first my presentation. Just give me a second. The title of my presentation is all about waste management technology towards a circular economy in the Philippines. Along with me with this study is Dr. Lynlei Pintor. So the volume and complexity of waste associated with the Philippines' modern emerging economy is prevalent problem, especially in urban areas of the country. So the country's waste generation continues to rise due to rapid population, improvement of living standard, fast economic growth, and industrialization. Reportedly grew from 37,427 to 40,087 tons per day in 2012 and 2016 respectively. It further increased and projected to about 49,000 tons per day this year. Therefore, waste management remains a major challenge to us unless addressed. Waste will continuously affect the environment and the generation to come. Globally, circular economy principle on the waste handling place an existing unsustainable and linear waste management scheme to address the concern of waste and to support the global adoption of the concept of sustainable development. The concept of circular economy is a powerful bridging concept to foster the fundamental links among resource use, waste, and emission, which in turn contributes to the integration of the environment economic policies. The Philippines has already taken the steps to address the global challenge of resource sustainable and waste management through policy implementation with the Republic Act 9003 or the National Solid Waste Management Strategy. Solid waste management practices during the last 10 years, many pressing issues during and environmental problem concerning e-waste have caught attention to several researchers in the Philippines. As you can see tabulated in the figure, I've shown that for the last 10 years, we only have 4 studies from 2010 and 2019 rather. So in 2010, most of the study was focused on recyclable collection trends, best practices, or the reduce, reuse, recycle, and poverty reduction. The finding shows that the best practice is the LGUs-led recycling of waste or voluntary collection. On the other hand, LGUs own initiative and schemes that achieve success with the participation of the informal sector according to CHU 2010. And jumping to 2019, The study Synergy in Urban Solid Waste Management System, which has a finding that constructed system dynamics model demonstrated the synergy in urban solid waste management system. Another study from Palomar et al. In 2019 entitled Waste Management Through Recycling said that the recycling improves the management of the municipal solid waste and reduce the volume of waste disposed in the landfill. Another study from Rolla 2019 entitled Waste Assessment and Bond Audit shows that organic waste comprise more than 50% generated waste or around 59.7 billion pieces of sachet yearly and more than 50% of unrecyclable residual waste discarded and branded as waste. On policy development and implementation have shown that the solid waste management were passed from 1938 to 2001. LGUs were responsible for waste collection and disposal under this jurisdiction according to these policies. The lack of cooperation within the community, lack of infrastructure, and politics are the main factors that resulted to the failure of past governance. In the year 2011, in the study of Atienza 2011 entitled Review of Waste Management System, it shows that past policies in 1938 to 2001 is a failure because of the factor of the past governance, which measures that includes the lack of cooperation of the community, lack of infrastructure, and politics as well. Implementation of RA 9003 or the Solid Waste Management Act is behind schedule. Although there are successful stories focused on the IEC campaigns and use of low cost and local technologies. Jumping in 2019, in this study of WEG 2019 entitled Ocean Plastic Waste Problem and Policy Development, had said that is a co-Asian solution, meaning for small commercial practices by small communities, private institutions move towards the marketing of eco-friendly, recyclable, and organic goods. Some LDUs ban the use of plastic discovery and the plastic eating enzymes. Solution to plastic accumulation was reported by Austin et al. 2018 and Dockrell 2018. Opportunity cost and economic application to clean the ocean are needed to consider as well, according to WEG 2019. So the waste integration, conversion, and recovery shows that the waste integration, conversion, and recovery in the Philippines were focused by the research of Terrazono et al., Figueroa, and Shikari et al. In the study of Shikari, they examined the recycled plastic as aluminum laminate trimming relative to environmental physical stressor as a barrier materials. In the study of Figueroa, conducted characterization of the temperature profile in solid waste decomposition for harnessing thermal energy. In Terrazono et al., they focus on the solid waste management and practices focus on the analyzing the gold recovery process on e-waste as conducted by informal recyclers. So electronic waste recycling management have shown in the study of Charisma and Allegra and Borsena analyzed that e-waste policy gap and ICT waste. Allegra and Borsena examined the poor collection of recycling ecosystem in growing volume of ICT waste, while De Guzman conducted a SWOT analysis, developed a tool for decision-making to effectively evaluate the e-waste management system, while Perkins' study explored the problem encountered in e-waste recycling practices. Electronic waste management and impact to human health and the environment were examined by Celestial et al. And Minota. Also conducted research that analyzed the characteristic of e-waste and recoverable electronic components. Cebu and Davao are Cebu and Davao are the two major cities in the Philippines that are pioneering in the waste energy project under the public-private partnership program. This is a program of the Philippines wherein the private entities are collaborate with the public or the government. In this project, combustible solid waste materials are converted into a usable energy to seize the exponential increase of solid waste and decrease the dependency of non-renewable sources of energy. Metro Manila, Iloilo City, and Davao City focus on estero and coastal rehabilitation and integration of solid waste management and landfill waste material recovery facilities to reduce solid waste pollutants and recover reusable and economically important waste. These 5 cities created ordinances and policies based on RA 9003. Example are the No Plastic Policy and the Program on Urban Ecosystem. In conclusion, based on the trend, solid waste management research in the Philippines was mostly focused on plastic recycling, followed by the studies on electronic waste. There were also studies on organic waste decomposition, which leans toward producing thermal energy. Majority of solid waste management studies lean toward investigating best plastic recycling practices, since plastic pollution received global attention for its disturbing effect in the society, economy, and environment. Overall, there is an apparent scarcity of actual research to describe the extent of the use of science and technology and innovation on waste management in the Philippines. Waste management is seemingly not direct concern of STI in the PDP 2017 to 2022. The actual roadmap of the country follows, and it's not clear now for its effort related to waste management. However, as demonstrated in some cases, presented efforts and initiatives in the country are not absent in terms of acknowledging science and technology as enablers of innovation of waste management. It seems that the governments need to re-institutionalize the national government, local government unit scheme for waste management. The government must also strengthen its partnership with private sector by giving incentives to institutions promoting circular economy so that they become motivated to create innovative products that are geared toward this. Community mobilization and participation and high political will of the LEGU officials are also factors to successful solid waste management. That's all my report for today. Thank you for listening.
Presentation, Zero Waste Management is a system that considers a whole system perspective on resource consumption and resource recovery from waste. Zero waste management is a viable resource management system that allows the effective consumption of a finite resource to be utilized to its greatest extent, where no waste is produced, for every resource is efficiently recirculated into society's limited resource pool. Implementing a zero waste management system can be used as an approach to achieve sustainable development goals, as stakeholders can directly benefit from the system. Objectives. The study determined the total economic value of zero waste management in the municipalities of Siquijor Island, Philippines. It is also aimed to create an initial assessment to provide direction and guidance for the recommended actions upon the TEV analysis. This is the study site located in Central Visayas. Siquijor is adjacent to tourist islands in the Philippines. It has a provincial ordinance on the plastic use regulation, ordinance for a plastic-free Sikihor, which prohibits single-use plastics and the like to all people within the area. Specifically, the study aims to answer the following. What is the total economic value of zero waste management program in Sikihor in terms of bequest, option, and existence? What framework can serve as an anchoring guide to achieve the recommended sustainable actions for government, the private sector, and the public to stimulate or convert the people's willingness to pay for the zero waste management program? Our theoretical framework is based on the total economic value approach, but then we will just get three values: the option value, the bequest value, and existence value, all under non-use value. So option, utilizing the provided goods and services in the future that cannot be tapped in the present by oneself. Bequest, utilizing the provided goods and services in the future that cannot be tapped in the present by others or future generations. Existence, utility of people to know of the ecosystem without deriving anything from it. This is the study framework. It is composed of a three-step process. One is determination of TEV of zero waste management. Two is the recommended sustainable actions as a result of the TEV. Inclusion of public and private sectors together with the local government in framing and enacting steps. And three, recommending a sustainable governance model. The study design. This study applied the descriptive quantitative study via the TEV approach. It also explores the concept of willingness to pay and willingness to accept, about the gains and losses from the services and values of the ecosystem. In the context of the study, option, bequest, and existence values shall be identified and analyzed through the Zero Waste Management Program in Sikihor Island. Participants, we use systematic random sampling. The head of the household is being chosen to be the respondent. A total of 420 respondents, and inclusion criteria include residents that have a relatively lower socioeconomic status, has experienced zero waste, or has a family member who is dependent on zero waste activities. And for data measure, using the total economic value framework, the researcher baselined the paper into three economic valuation of the residents, specifically bequest, option, existence. The said valuations were chosen because these are the variables that can be quantified and measured using the perspective of the respondents. Direct and indirect use values can be inferred in the succeeding study of the researchers. The said valuation was measured using their willingness to pay for the said values. More specifically, the questions asked by the researcher were anchored on bequest, option, and existence values. The survey questions can infer the practicality of investing zero waste management in the island area. This will also see whether people will be willing to volunteer further to develop zero waste management in the area. Willingness to pay in this study is a binomial response since it will see to what extent respondents believe in the said program and their willingness to improve it. Willingness to pay in this study is baselined in the study of Membrebe et al., which uses a binomial approach in looking at the residents' valuation in Sikihor. This is the best method seen by the researcher, as it will be an objective valuation of whether they are willing to do the said activities posted by the research. Now, this is the distribution of respondents according to age. The diagram shows the distribution according to age, and it is worth emphasizing how it is skewed to the left. This only shows that the youth participation in this activity is evident and may significantly impact the future implementation of zero waste management. In terms of PD, it is an indication of the sustainability of the said program since the youth are actively involved. Distribution of respondents based on profession. As a whole, we have the government and management sector occupying 16.2%. Then you have the housekeeper, 22%, and others not classified in the different identified profession, 21%. Now, based on educational attainment, so we have here mostly college graduates, followed by high school graduates. Then based on years of residence, it is apparent that you have the 31 above years of residence occupying more than half of the respondents. So that's 54.5%. Now, these are the responses from the questions on option value. And we can see that all of them are willing to pay, no? So fees in the utilization of natural resources for educational, tourism, economic, scientific, and other purposes. Then if there would be penalties whenever there are violations, and there would be number of private institutions interventions, and if the zero waste programs results in personal grievances and conflict of interest as part of the community, would the program garner your support? Okay. Now, key responses for the questions on existence value. So, for number one, willingness to pay 78%. Question number two, 87%. Question number three, willingness 80%. So willingness to pay for the existence values on if there would be fees, taxes in order for the programs to exist. If there would be a need for the community volunteerism. Number three, if there would be a need to render legal duties, volunteerism, donations, and assistance. All of them are willing to pay for all these services. Then for the bequest value, again, the respondents are willing to pay if there would be a policy of progressive taxation. There is a need to change your personal and social actions to sustain zero waste program, and there is a need to invest in education of the youth in order to sustain zero waste program. So, in this study, the researchers concluded that in terms of willingness to pay, residents of Siquijor have high acceptance on the implementation of zero waste management. In terms of option value, 30% of the respondents are undecided and unwilling to participate in zero waste programs, resulting in personal grievances and conflict of interest as part of the community. In existence value, results, on the other hand, show that a total of 21% of the respondents are both undecided and not willing to have fees, taxes for the programs. And the results of the lowest willing to pay of the existence values are almost similar to that of the bequest values, wherein 26%, 26.43% of the respondents are not willing to have a policy of progressive taxation to sustain the zero waste program in the future. Now, the recommendation, participatory democracy for zero waste management in Siquijor echoes the clan concept that was introduced in the study of Membreve and Ancheta, must also be considered by the municipalities. The clan concept stands for collaboration between the local government, the AGAMIM, and the NGOs. Each stakeholder of Siquijor Island zero waste activities, from the locals, registrators, the NGOs, tourists, market, and the private sector, must collectively work hand in hand through a holistic approach to meet the requirements of sustaining the zero waste efforts that have been started. This ends our presentation. Thank you for listening, and this is one of the beaches in the coastal areas of Siquijor. Maraming salamat po.
Good day, everyone. I'm Alain Jomari G. Santos, the presenter about the study factors affecting eco-friendly packaging preferences of food service MSMEs in Iban, Batangas. An assessment. My co-authors are Alia Matira and Alicia Maria Palan. The rise in takeout waste amid the COVID-19 pandemic is really something that is highly significant. Because of the increase of deliveries for food and online shopping, it introduced another way for society to produce waste. Cities and provinces coming out with ordinances against plastic use had to backtrack. That is according to Maria Ledesma of Greenpeace Philippines. The primary issue in Iban, Batangas is that they have unsustainable packaging, no proper authorities, and they are lacking in local ordinance. And also, I would like to highlight the contemporary ecological awareness that is being introduced and being coined by so many countries of the world, including the 1972 United Nations Conference on the Human Environment in Stockholm, and also in the 2015 Paris Agreement, wherein the Philippines joined in 2017. And just to categorize the MSMEs, the micro business is an enterprise that has a capitalization of not more than 3 million. The small is being categorized as an enterprise that has a capitalization of 3 million 1 to 15 million, while the medium enterprise is an enterprise that have a capitalization of 15 million 1 to 100 million, and they are being backed up by the RA number 6977 as amended, which is the Magna Carta for micro, small, and medium enterprises. The SMEs represent more than 90% of the food and packaging sector, and the majority of these MSEs don't have a dedicated packaging manager. That's according to Gilliard and others in 2018. The plastic market in the Philippines is above 1.283.71 million in 2016, with a compounded annual growth rate of 6.11%. The plastic used for packaging is about 48% in 2017, and with packaging waste as the major contributor to marine litter and plastic pollution. So if nothing is done, the world will be on a hazardous path towards more waste and overwhelming pollution. The cost to lives, livelihoods, and the environment would be far greater than it is today, according to the World Bank in 2018. And just to present also the related studies, according to Gallego Schmid et al. In 2019, to lessen the effects of fast food containers on the environment, it is essential to find the best alternatives and improvement opportunities. And according to Zhang et al. In 2020, it is important to encourage sustainable development by creating and sharing eco-friendly and low-carbon takeout containers and collection techniques. So the general problem is what factors affect the use of eco-friendly packaging as preferred by the MSMEs, and how does it affect waste management promotion? And we anchored it in the theoretical framework based on the TOE, or the Technology Organizational Environment. So theory at the organizational level that describes the three elements of a firm context that have an impact on adoption decisions. So this is the conceptual framework wherein the willingness to use eco-friendly packaging is dependent also on the external, internal business environment and to the preferred packaging qualities, which goes now to the packaging preference. And this packaging now will have an effect on waste management. And this is how the MSMEs can encourage to use eco-friendly packaging in order now to manage the volume of too much waste. The statement of the problem is that the first is what factors affect the use of eco-friendly packaging as preferred by selected MSMEs in Iban, Batangas. Second is what is the level of contribution of eco-friendly food service packaging in the promotion of waste management in Iban, Batangas in terms of compostability and biodegradability of packaging, and recyclability and reusability of packaging. The third is how do various factors affect a business packaging choice between conventional packaging and eco-friendly packaging in terms of external and internal business environment. And lastly, how do the respondents' packaging preferences relate to the factors affecting their use of conventional and eco-friendly packaging and the promotion of waste management in Ibaan, Batangas, Philippines. And the research design is quantitative method and also based on the correlational design. And for the data gathering, we have the managers or owners of registered food service, micro, small, and medium enterprises in Ibaan, Batangas as participants, and also the waste management officers of Ibaan, Batangas. The instrument we use is that we distribute a survey questionnaire, and the procedure is that information and consent was explained and distributed along with the survey questionnaire, and the respondent either answered by themselves or through the assistance of the researchers. So for data analysis, we have also used weighted mean, composite mean, and Pearson's correlation. So just also to identify the research gap, which is the sustainable packaging from the business's perspective. So as a result, important factors and various packaging qualities to food service as preferred by the MSMEs are the following. The most preferred factors are durability, customer appeal, and portability. And the least preferred factors are biodegradability and compostability. Now, in particular also, the factors affecting a business packaging choice between conventional packaging and eco-friendly packaging, and for the internal environment factors that affects it the most are the legal requirements, availability at local stores, and also the market price. For the internal environment factors that has the most significant effect is the plans and policies and the financial management. And for the level of contribution of eco-friendly food service packaging in the promotion of waste management, what is highly significant is the packaging's compostability and biodegradability, and also the packaging's recyclability and reusability. For the relationship, there is no significant relationship for both external and internal business environments affecting the use of biodegradable and compostable packaging, and thus they do not have a significant relationship with the contribution to waste promotion. And also in both external and internal business environment, the effect of the recyclable and reusable packaging do not have a significant relationship with the contribution to waste promotion. So less waste doesn't always mean better or widespread waste management. And the new business model requires the development of new logistics product designs, investments in new production steps, or even complete lines, as well as communication strategies to optimize the impact of the system. This validates the study of Coelho and others in 2020. And the increasing environmental pressure on the economic system requires a reconsideration of our economic paradigm. That's awarding also to Worrell et al. In 2016. And for the recommendation, we propose four important plans of action. Number one is the intervention, something that will now be a rule and definitely that the citizens or the people in the community would strictly follow. And they would also they should also adopt operation procedures that reduce business reliance on plastic or single-use packaging that is very much particular to the MSMEs. And there must also be a continual assessment and modifications of current systems. And this could be done by the MSMEs, by the LGU, and also by the NGOs. And then there must also be an intensive macroeconomic level research that must be conducted. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for listening to my presentation.
And pleasure to present the result of our study on environmental governance in the context of zero waste, a case study of Siquijor Island, Philippines, by Dr. Arlen Ancheta, Dr. Moises Norman Garcia, Dr. Maria Rosario Virginia Garcia, Dr. Alain Jo Marie Santos, Assistant Professor Arnold Distor, and yours truly, Raquel Laico. We are from the University of Santo Tomas. Island present natural conditions that common in continental landforms. The island area is often small and discontinuous. The physical boundary is sharply defined. Ecotones are predictable and easily discernible. These are dominant and common features of the Philippine island landscape. The country is more water than land, and many of its islands are small. This is according to Batak, Catalan, Malayang, and Espaldon in 1998. The paper showcases circular economy by presenting the intersection of environmental governance and zero waste management. The framework is an interplay of social actors, policies on waste reduction, refill and reuse, compose and recycle, holistically termed as zero waste. The goal of zero waste is high diversion from the landfill, resource recovery, and green jobs. Governance is one of the most important factors for ensuring effective environmental management and conservation actions towards circular economy. While environmental problems are often viewed as having technical, managerial, or behavioral dimensions, increasing attention has been paid to environmental governance as an overarching means to address these complexities. Methods. Qualitative approach using a case study design. This is to show the intersectionality of waste management, proper use of natural resources, and ecosystem services in Siquijor using island ecosystem approach towards a zero waste island. Methods. Review of documents or shed light on the environmental laws and policies practice in the island. Interviews provide an in-depth understanding of the island ecosystems, how they are utilized for socio-economic practices, tourism and healing, and observation gain insights on the practices of the local people. The study site. Siquijor is a small island midway between Visayas and Mindanao. It is bounded in the north by the island of Cebu, Bohol to the northwest, to the west is Negros Island, to the east is Camiguin, to the south in Mindanao Sea. The island is known as the Healing Island, composed of 6 municipalities, namely Siquijor, San Juan, Lassi, Maria, Larena, and Enrique Villanueva. The island is a transit point going to the islands of Cebu, Bohol, and other nearby islands. Beach tourism as a major source of income is commercialized. Moreover, as healing is also commercialized, local culture tourists flock to the island during peak season. These activities are detrimental to the natural amenities, water, space, and food. Results and discussions. The non-governmental organization and the local government unit partnership on environmental governance. Local government units are not capable of managing solid waste alone. They need partners to facilitate the technical aspect of managing solid waste. Thus, collaboration enhances assistance to improve information, education, and communication, monitoring, or evaluation. As in the case of Siquijor, Mother Earth Foundation has facilitated the crafting of local ordinances, monitored and evaluate every step of the ecological solid waste management at the barangay level. In addition, other sectors in Siquijor actively participated in the coastal cleaning, tree planting, waste segregation, and information dissemination. This is a photo taken in Nairobi, Kenya, where the Vice Governor of Siquijor presented the island. Circular economy is articulated through waste segregation, reuse, refill, recycling, composting, and no plastic policy in Sikihor. During a global plastics treaty signed event in Kenya, Visions for an Ambitious and Just Treaty, organized by Bloomberg Philanthropies in Nairobi, Vice Governor Dr. Mei Ling Quezon Brown of Sikihor Island highlighted the success of the island's efforts in combating the plastic crisis. Delegates and environmental advocates are made aware of the island province of Sikihor in the Philippines as a success story in the global fight against plastic pollution, and as a reminder for the need for a strong global treaty to address plastic pollution beyond global actions. Collaboration. Collaborating with organizations such as the Mother Earth Foundation, MEF Philippines, and the Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives, Asia Pacific, they reach out to various sectors, launched informative campaigns, and implemented laws banning styrofoam products while regulating the use of other single-use plastics. Initiated decentralized waste segregation is about each community managing and processing their waste in their locality. Zero waste provided green jobs to the local people and formalized the status of the waste workers. Conclusion. Environmental governance top-down approach made zero waste possible in Sikihor Island. The collaboration of the local government and the non-governmental organization created a holistic approach in implementing circular economy and promoting green jobs.
No more presentations for the Philippine session.
So, I request you to conclude the session. If you have question, I will answer it. Okay, so I will now request Dr. Pintor to kindly conclude the session.
Right? On the part of all the presenters here in the Philippines, here with me is Dr. Catherine, and also other presenters like Engineer Ajosel Godesano, also Dr. Arlen Ancheta, Dr. Alain Jo-Marie, Dr. Laiko, and yours truly. On behalf of all the presenters, thank you so much for the opportunity to have the Philippine session spearheaded by Dr. Prof. Gosh, and thank you as well to the hall manager for this session. Nice to meet you, sir, and also ma'am. So we hope to see you once again next year in the 14th Solid Waste Management Conference, to be, hopefully, we can meet face to face. So thank you so much.